Hello and welcome back to the Can-Ass podcast after our 3 or 4 week hiatus that we ended up taking. I'm Victor.
Due to technical difficulties, and I'm Celso.
Yeah, and I'm pumped, man. I mean, there's a lot that's gone on. It's going to be impossible to recap absolutely everything I think that went on in the world of sports, especially Canadian sports, especially with like the two probably biggest things to come out of sports. The NBA Finals. Right now, Golden State Warriors against Boston Celtics. Andrew Wiggins, Canadian, along with his Golden State Warriors, playing in the finals. The NHL is going to have a ton of Canadians playing in the finals. You have like McKinnon, McCarr, Kemper,
Kadri, even though he's out for the playoffs.
Actually, I heard Kadri is potentially and likely coming back for the final round.
Ooh.
Yeah, he just needs a little bit of time to recover from that air quote or air for dirty hit by Kane. I think it's okay. It was decent enough to suspend him for a game. I don't think the Oilers lost because of it. I think the Oilers lost. They did not play as well as Colorado. No. Colorado's a very good, very deep team. The officiating didn't help.
It definitely did not.
But Colorado was a better team. Let's just
especially like two players that I really liked during that series, McCarr and Frank Coos, or whatever, however you say his name. They definitely helped the team
they were unreal.
The Oilers, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, McCarr is putting up like some of the greatest numbers in the history of the game by defensemen. I think it's like there's only 4 instances where a defenseman had 9 or more points in a 4-game sweep. Since the history of the NHL, McCarr has 2 of them this playoff.
Dang.
Yeah. He had 9 points against Nashville, 9 points against Edmonton. Yeah. That being said, there is a chance that McDavid and Draisaitl will still finish 1 and 2 in playoff
probably,
scoring. Yeah.
Outside
chance,
but I think last time I checked, I think McKinnon had 13, 14 or whatever, and McDavid and Draisaitl had 33 and 34.
Yeah, it was 34, 33, 32.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's just they're separated by 1. I think McDavid has more, so McDavid will be up there. I'm not sad or angry about. No. That's a correction. I am sad. I'm sad that the Oilers ended up losing, but it's you get so close to the finals.
I'm not that surprised though. It was going to be very tough against Colorado. I
thought they could have put up a little bit more of a fight.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that, but was not surprised.
No.
Not really.
No. You know what, though? I trust Holland, man. The differences that he's made with this team, the upgrades that he's done with this team, they've helped, a lot. There's no way he comes back to where Duncan Keith is a top 4 defenseman with this team next year. Duncan Keith will be a third-pairing defenseman, and that's fitting. That is fine. A third-pairing defenseman, sheltered 16, 17 minutes a game, that's okay. That's all we need from him, right? He'll still provide the leadership, and frankly, he was a massive reason that we made it out of the first round in the first place. That Game 6 he played against LA was outrageous, and the leadership he provided, without a doubt, in that dressing room. I had a friend who works in the Oilers organization and is in the dressing room often enough, and told me just straight up that unbelievable change in the culture in there and just the vibe all the time.
That's pretty good. We should talk about Team Canada, the men's team, and how they're not getting compensated for.
It's not. I don't think it's just the men's team though. We'll talk about soccer.
The Canadian national team in
the Canadian national teams are currently in a fight against Canada Soccer, the federation, and it's over. Honestly, a lot of it's over equal pay. They want the women to get paid the amount. So from everything that I'm hearing, everything that I'm seeing, it's good for the men, man. Standing up for the equal pay for the women. And did you hear the press conference? Did you see the press conference that Soccer Canada put together?
I think I saw snippets of it.
So they're we can't afford anything that the men are proposing. And the men are but we're just proposing a little more percentage from our World Cup earnings. We're not asking for you guys to throw millions upon millions towards us. We're saying give us part of the revenue sharing of the World Cup proceeds. That's all we're asking. And they want equal pay for the men and the women. I don't understand how that's such a tough complex. It's tough situation. Truthfully, the women team has carried soccer in this country for a decade plus. Let's not even sugarcoat this.
Yeah.
From 2012 until now, until maybe 2 years ago, actually, the women's team was the main team for this country. Just straight up. Christine Sinclair should be making the same amount as any man. 100%. There's zero question about that. Like, sure, we're talking about viewership and everything, but, like, we got to the World Cup, give them a certain percentage. If they want to split that revenue and those winnings with the women's team, I don't understand what the issue is. Like, there's more money in a men's World Cup than a women's World Cup. So I don't understand what the issue is with them allowing to share and then give the money to the women. Like, they're looking for a deal comparative to the U.S. teams. I don't think they'll be getting that just because Canada has, like, what is it? A tenth of the population than the U.S. does. The teams aren't as big. We have support. Definitely across the entire country have support, but it's still 10 times the size of the country. It's like you're going to get, theoretically, just by those numbers, 10 times less support. Right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to get U.S. teams' numbers. But I do think that it's fair. It's fair that they're starting to, like, trying, especially the fact that they want equal pay. I don't like, if they were fighting over, it's like, oh, I want $8,000 per game as opposed to $7,000. Like, if it was just that, then I'm like, okay, boys, like, come on, you're all making a stupid amount of money for your professional leagues. Like, you know what? Sure, get paid for these games.
Or that
they want an extra $1,000. Come on, it's not going to make or break you. But respectfully, for the women's league, like, they don't get paid 10, 15, 20 million a year. They're lucky if they get $1 million, which that starts another. That's a completely other conversation that, you know, maybe we can have another time if you like. But yeah, and equal pay on the mat. Yeah, right. We can talk about equal pay, like this equal pay that they're demanding. I respect it.
Oh yeah.
And then they want the proceeds from the World Cup. I respect that as well. It sucks how they handled the whole Iran and then Panama situation. That sucks. And also the turnout in BC Place the other day was an embarrassment. Like, over half the stands were empty. And then now we're seeing an article released that FIFA's going to award Vancouver and Toronto games.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not Edmonton.
When, like, we definitely filled Commonwealth for, like, one of the coldest days. And we filled them up just to watch Canada try to qualify. And we're not getting the...
Doesn't necessarily surprise me. Commonwealth as a building sucks. Like, that building is old. Okay?
It is old,
FIFA wants us to do, like, almost, like, $1 billion worth of renovations to it. And Edmonton's like, well, screw off, dude. Like, we're only going to have 4 games. There's 3 or 4 games at most. What's the point? Which is fair. And BC Place is a better, newer building. If I'm not mistaken, it actually fits the same amount.
It's very beautiful. I went to watch a Whitecaps game not too long ago, and it's pretty sweet.
What's the capacity of that place?
I don't remember, but it's definitely smaller than Commonwealth.
Yeah. And then Toronto's, like, they just need to go from, like, the 15,000 they can support, and they have to add, like, 50,000 seats. I don't know how that's going to happen, but Toronto's the biggest city in Canada, so it's, like, obviously they're going to get it.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think that the Mexican fans started those racist, homophobic chants during the Mexico-Canada game. I definitely think that has something to do with it. And just, like, the idiot pitch invader as well, but also BC Place had some 2 pitch invaders, too. But they at least protested something. Our guy was just an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, man. Like, actually, some pretty big Canada news out of soccer is Kadisha Buchanan switched teams. She no longer plays for Lyon. She's actually joining fellow Canadian in the English League.
Nice.
Yeah, Jessie Fleming is going to be playing with Kadisha Buchanan in Chelsea.
Your girl, Jessie Fleming.
She's the best player, the best Canadian player right now. There's no question. So that's an interesting thing for both teams too, though. Is like they have a superstar striker, both teams do, and then they have the midfield maestro or maestra in Eustachio and Fleming. I didn't realize how good Eustachio was until just this year. I thought he was like pretty decent, but we could upgrade that position. But like Eustachio is actually like a world class CAM, like. World class number 10. Like, he's up there, man. Anyways, Morocco ended up losing 3-0 to the U.S. as well recently, so that's looking interesting for the World Cup. Belgium and Croatia both lost as well in the Nations Leagues and everything. Doesn't really do anything for Canada necessarily. I mean, these are all tune-ups and everything, and the World Cup isn't for until November. But Canada, the next window, needs to play against a European country. They need to do what they can to prepare themselves because they haven't played a European country in over 3 years, and that was a bad game. And that was before any of these. Like, Europe and CONCACAF are two completely different beasts. Heck, even play a Condom Bowl team from South America. Try any one of them. For goodness sake, any one of them is a better challenge than any CONCACAF team. Mexico just got crushed by Uruguay 3-0, and Uruguay finished 4th.
Yeah.
In Condom Bowl. So it'll be interesting. Maybe they can set up a friendly against Ecuador, but even then, you want to set up a friendly against a team similar to you in the World Cup, and no South American team is similar to either one of Croatia and or Belgium. So
I would love to see Canada versus Peru since we're Peruvian, but
I would, but that wouldn't prepare us really for it. I mean, we could probably do a friendly with a South American team, but you want a team similar to Croatia and or Belgium. Belgium, the only team that I can possibly South America. There's nothing.
No,
I mean Ecuador maybe, but they don't have the midfield that Belgium does. I'd love to see a friendly against either Netherlands or England or both. Because I think Netherlands and England are two of the top teams in UEFA and in Europe. And it will be a good challenge for Canada. And they're comparative to Croatia and Belgium, honestly. They both have superstar talent. I think Belgium is more fitted with England. And I think Netherlands with Croatia. But even then, it'll still be a challenge. Morocco, I guess, really all they're going to be able to do is just look at the video from the Morocco-US game and go from there. Although Hakimi is one heck of a player, that's going to be a challenge to maintain him, especially with just 3 group matches, man. It's not like you play home and away. It's just the one game against each country. We'll see. We'll see about the roster. We're obviously going to do all
need touches and then kind of go from there.
The Curacao game was okay, 4-0 win. I was expected. I said it actually at the beginning of the game. I said we better win 3 or 4-0 because this needs to be a big win. They were a little... they scared me a little bit. First goal was a penalty. And then they played okay. Still a lot of improvements, though. Still a lot that they need to improve. Really quick on baseball. The Blue Jays ended up coming back from... They were started off really, really hot. And then they got really, really cold.
Yes.
And then they got pretty damn hot again. So it's like the weather here in Edmonton,
very unpredictable.
Completely. The moment recording, they already finished their game on Saturday. They ended up losing 3-1, I think. Gossman played a good game, but their bats were completely just non-existent.
I think it's just the bats. They've been fairly cold lately.
Batson are 4th and 5th pitching. Manoah has been unreal.
Yes.
Gossman has been unbelievable as well.
Definitely agree.
Stripling has started, and he's usually gone 4 or 5 innings. And then, what was his name? Hyunjin Ryu has not been great. And then Kikuchi has also not been great. So, when you have two guys playing like aces, you're going to win those games 90% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
But then you have 3 other Ross Stripling's okay, but he's not a genuine MLB starter. That's our weakest point. The bats will eventually come around, and this team is very talented in the hitting department. The bats will come around. Our catchers are all playing stupidly good baseball too. Alejandro Kirk has been hot. Our catcher has been our most hot position this entire year, pretty much. Hey, because you had Danny Jansen starting off okay, pretty damn good. Then he goes down, but then Zach Collins comes up and he hits a stupid streak of hits after hits. And then after Zach Collins goes, cools off a little bit, but the second he cools off, Alejandro Kirk starts heating up like an absolute heater, and he's still on that heater. And now we bring the Moreno guy, who's the number 4 prospect in all of baseball supposedly. So, who's also a catcher. So maybe they go and trade a catcher for a pitcher at some point, but we'll see. I'm not very knowledgeable on the whole on the whole trade market in MLB. But it'll be interesting to see what they do because they definitely need a pitching help, and they probably need one more bat an infield bat that they can use just to like bolster it a little bit, right? But
We still have a long ways to go anyway, so
yeah,
it's
exactly.
nothing to be worried about.
Ricky Romero's playing. Jordan Romano. Ricky Romero is the former pitcher who's obsessed with Manoah. You should see his tweets that he's posted recently about Manoah. But Jordan Romano's been playing pretty well. He had a really long streak of consecutive saves and games without blowing a save, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That ended against the Yankees, I think. And boy, did it ever end. I think he had a rough go for like a couple weeks, and then he finally went back to normal. Golf, the Canadian Open is on right now.
Yep.
We have 4 Canadians competing in it. No Canadian went to the LIV tour. You know the news about
yes,
that, yeah?
I do know what it is, yeah.
Apparently it's a different type of league. I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, I've heard like it's just different way of like playing in the so-called tournaments.
Yeah. So they just finished their tournament. Actually, it's only a 3-day tournament. They just finished over there. Schwartzel, I think.
I heard like they were like in teams.
That's what I heard
too. They're playing like in teams or something like that.
That's what I heard too.
It's
but
weird.
like today wasn't like maybe it was still in teams, but the individual winner got a big prize, like a $2.5 million prize, which is more than most PGA events, anyways. They ended up leaving for the money, I guess. And yeah, it's nuts. No Canadians ended up going over there, so like we're not necessarily going to talk about the LIV tour. Implications for Canadians, not much. I mean, those guys don't compete in PGA Tour events anymore, so like maybe a Canadian will have a better chance of winning a PGA Tour event. However, though, like most of them are still going to be at majors. You know, if you're eligible to play in a major, you're going to play in a major.
Oh yeah,
right. I didn't realize really how many tours there are in golf. Like there's the DP World Tour, there's a European Tour, PGA Tour, now the LIV Tour. Very interesting.
I just thought it was just PGA.
No, there's a bunch of them. And the Mackenzie Tour here in Canada. The Canada PGA Tour as well. Like, there's a lot, man. There's a lot. Corn Ferry Tour. That's like the minors.
What?
The Corn Ferry Tour. That's like the minors of the PGA Tour. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few Canadians playing there, actually. That's where this, what is it? What's the last guy that, Taylor something. Taylor Pendrith played in the Corn Ferry Tour, and he graduated the PGA Tour this last year, Canadian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I did not know that.
A lot of tours, man.
Like I said, tours. I don't really follow golf, so I just thought it was just PGA and then now the LIV, but did not know there were many others too.
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch. I think it's all about golf. Really quick on basketball. I don't think we've touched on it yet. Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, well, we mentioned it at the beginning, but very little. Andrew Wiggins of the Golden State Warriors. Actually, my preseason pick to win it, if I'm not mistaken, I did mention at the beginning that I think realistically the Golden State Warriors will win. They're in the finals yet again. First time Wiggins is ever in the finals, so it's good for him. Series is tied 2-2 against Boston. And yeah, I mean, Golden State got their home court back. So I mean, it's looking like, knock on wood, obviously. I'd like Golden State to win, so that Canadian Andrew Wiggins can win his first ever title, and be like, Steve Kerr has a legitimate chance of becoming the greatest basketball mind in history. He's won 5 championships as a player. He's won 3 already as a coach. Can go into his 4th after this year, so he'd be 4 away from the all-time record. Like, this is the closest we're ever going to come to seeing anyone break the Bill Russell / Phil Jackson record again. And if Steve Kerr becomes the GM of a team eventually, like, who knows, man? Steve Kerr has a chance.
I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a GM after coaching.
I wouldn't either, but he has to go down as one of the best coaches of all time. I mean, he's got a really good superstar squads, don't get me wrong. Like, Steph Curry is unbelievable, the greatest shooter of basketball history, the NBA history. Klay Thompson's an unbelievable, like, second piece behind him. Draymond Green, one of the greater defensive players in the world and to ever play. Like, they've got a good team. That's a lot on the GM and their scouting team and everything too, because like they were all drafted, right? And like their core has all been drafted. I mean, yeah, Kevin Durant, that came in for the 1 year, and they only won the 1 title though with Kevin Durant. The other 2 were without. So, Unreal, man. I'm pumped. I'm cheering for the Splash Brothers, man. I'm cheering for them. It'll be nice. And then, whatever the sport is there.
F1, Latifi and Stroll aren't really doing much.
No.
Like usual. I guess we can go to hockey. We can go back to hockey, I guess.
The CFL season started.
It did.
That's all we'll talk about.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a huge CFL fan.
He was,
He loved the Riders, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I can't stand that league. Anyways. All right, NHL
Once you like it's not right to compare NFL and CFL, but I'm more interested in NFL than CFL, unfortunately.
All right, so like, I don't think recapping the entire playoffs is realistic. That's not going to happen.
For Canadian teams?
Well,
yeah.
for Canadian teams, it's done. Like, the Oilers are
Yeah.
out. It was Edmonton and Calgary.
That was
Alberta.
a good series, though. Edmonton and Calgary.
It was. Okay. I think we talked about in the mystery episode that wasn't released. But was that a goal? The Calgary kick. Blake Coleman. The one that got called off.
You see him, like, looking at the puck, and you see his leg, like, move towards the puck. So it was definitely in his mind, and it definitely looked like he kicked it. Not kicked it, but he, like, pushed it.
Being a soccer player, man, it's an obvious kick. 100%.
Yeah.
However, I still think it was a goal. I still think it counts. I think it was unbelievably stupid play by Blake Coleman to even try to kick it in, because that puck was going in anyways.
Yeah.
That should have been a goal. Just on principle,
he just left it.
I feel on principle it should have counted as a goal. Just straight up. Am I okay that it didn't? Yeah.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yes.
But yeah, that definitely should have counted as a goal. Should have gotten to Game 6. But I'm happy we didn't.
Honestly, I wouldn't have cared, but like, it was definitely definitely like kicked it, but.
And then the hockey gods have a way of coming back at us, man, because that goal against that Colorado goal in the first period of Game 1 in the Western Final, that was like a mile offside.
Yeah, but apparently had no control, even though he like pushed
That's
it.
such garbage, man. Like that. The McKinnon slew foots, the Landeskog headshots. That being said, when the Oilers were given power play opportunities, they did nothing with them. So again, I am not blaming the officials for the Oilers' loss. The Oilers are the only ones to blame for the Oilers' loss. 100%. There's zero question about that.
And as much as like I'm not blaming Smith, because it's the team. It was the whole team that didn't really do much in the series. But, like, you see him making so many great saves and everything. And then there was that one goal for Comfer coming out of the box, basically. And you just let it trickle through. Like...
I'm with you, man. Listen, I was the very first person to defend Smith all season, yes or no? I still think he's a great...
He's still a good goalie.
He's a great backup to have.
Yes.
He's not a number one anymore in this league. He was a very big reason that we made it out of the LA series.
True. But
he was a big reason that we ended up beating Calgary the way that we did.
But even if like he was playing well, I'm always nervous when they're in.
And that's
our
fair.
zone.
He's so. But the amount of times that he comes out, plays the puck, and does all that stuff, it helps save our defenseman a lot. So that's huge.
I'm not even worried about that. It's just his positioning and his.
He looks frantic in net.
Yeah, he just like drops to his stomach. I'm like, why you drop it to your stomach? You just have to stay up, and it would have just hit you.
So that's a similar thing to. Do you remember Jeff Druin Delorier?
Yes.
Okay, so I always thought he was a better goalie than Devin Dubnyk, but it was because he was making big save after big save. But it was because he was putting himself out of position where he needed to make those saves. Whereas Devin Dubnyk, very calm goalie, didn't like always in position all the time. Had a 920 save percentage, which was a garbage Edmonton team.
Holy crap, yeah.
So, and I think that's a very similar thing. Like, I was nervous watching Jeff Delorier play. GDD?
Yeah.
JDD. JDD. I do think Smith retires. And if he doesn't, I do think the Oilers have him as backup. Or as a third stringer, send him down to the minors if need be. Because they have to get a goalie.
Definitely.
Now, there's not a lot available, though. That's the issue.
The only one
Darcy
that I would
Kemper
go for is Kemper.
Or Ville Husso is another one that they might go for. So there's a realistic pickups would be Kemper, first, your ideal one, and then Ville Husso. Okay, you can't afford more than $6.5 million for Kemper though. So if he's asking, even then you try to go less. If he's asking for that, I'm sorry, it's game over. And then everybody's like, oh well, they shouldn't have paid this and this and this. And like, okay, well, first off, that's done. Secondly, the Barry $4 million a year. That's actually not a bad signing. Barry is a $4 million defenseman. To the offense that he can produce all year, that's great.
And even
Cassian
if we have to trade him,
terrible.
then we could find suitors for Barry.
Oh yeah, Barry has a bunch of suitors available. So if he gets put up in the trade block, 100%.
That's fine.
Koskinen $4 million is off the books, but that's going straight
to Nurse.
Straight to Nurse. Yeah.
So that's nothing.
I mean, you have $1 extra million in there. I think that's it. And it's deceiving because we have 8 players to sign with $7.5 million cap space, but really, of those 8 players, only 4 play for the Oilers actively. The rest are like depth pieces. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to re-sign the minor leaguers to an NHL contract if we don't need to.
You could just sign our draft picks.
Well, exactly, right?
Basically.
Holloway's going to play up this year. Broberg will probably be playing up this year. Broberg
I can see him coming up if Barry is traded.
Well, yeah, and I honestly I see Barry getting traded for a third pairing right shot, like just a defensive shutdown defenseman. We need that. There's no question. You have Nurse with Bouchard, and then you have Kulak with.
You have to sign Kulak though.
Yeah, but they're definitely signing.
They have.
Did you know the numbers that he was supposedly going to get? Just 2.8 to 3.2 million.
I would definitely do it.
A billion.
Yeah.
Oh, 100% I would.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Kulak is a very good defenseman. He has top 4 numbers that he puts up. I don't.
He was probably our best defenseman in the Colorado series too.
Yeah, I mean that's not saying much. Our team was not good in the Colorado series. Even McDavid and Draisaitl didn't play the best that they could. They had great games 1 and 4, exceptional games 1 and 4. Everyone played bad in game 2, and then game 3 was right.
Yeah,
but. Again, I would also be an absolute idiot if I would blame McDavid or Draisaitl for any of the Oilers' problems. They are saviors here.
You can't blame them. They're basically carrying the team on their back.
Yeah, it also took one day for somebody like, oh well, now McDavid and Draisaitl asked for a trade. I'm like, you're an idiot, dude. Like, come on, man. So this year, Holland is going to do something, though. Like, he's going to go out there. And if he doesn't, then, okay, sure. At that point, yeah, McDavid and try. So what else do you want me to do, man? Like, just start giving us stuff at the trade deadline. We need to start going for the cup. So, our windows was opened 3 or 4 years ago. It was creaked open. But the window has completely been slammed open right now. Because Colorado is going to be a diminished team next year, too. Kadri won't be signing back. Burakovsky won't be signing back. They can't be able to afford Kemper because McKinnon's contract is going to be renewed soon. Mm-hmm. Like, McKinnon's not going to sign again for $6.6 million or whatever the heck it is.
Like, basically for their goalie situation, they need like a 1A to Francouz or Francouz or whatever his name is.
Yeah, because they have a decent backup. Like, Francouz
is really decent. Good. Yeah.
You know, it would be an interesting option too. They always try to trade with Florida for Spencer Knight. I don't think that ever.
I don't know because that's basically their future.
That's true. But actually, Bobrovsky signed for another 6 years, so that's their future. Listen, trade candidates would be Gibson, Blackwood, Spencer Knight. I think that's the only realistic ones.
That's basically it.
Free agents.
I've heard like just ramblings on Twitter about Hellebuck, but that's definitely not going to happen.
I mean, if the O's can try to even go for Hellebuck, he's got 2 more years at $6 million. Yeah, they try
for that. Yeah,
but like, there's nothing. Like, there's the package. They're gonna want to have like a bunch of different players. So one guy's like, "Oh yeah, just offer Cassian and Barry for Hellebuck straight off. They'll take it." I'm like, oh yeah, sure. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Might as well throw in Clefbaum's contract and Smith. They'll take all of it too, right? 100% they will.
Oh, totally, yeah. I know, like, for what Kane is wanting, we're not going to sign him. He's unfortunately gone. Man. Yeah. He's wanting 7 from Edmonton and, like, 8 from another team, basically.
So having good enough playoffs to get it done, to get it paid.
Yeah.
He's going to want more term than salary, though.
But then we also have to sign Puljujarvi or Yamamoto.
Yamo's their first priority.
Or McLeod.
No, McLeod's getting signed, but McLeod's not going to be a difficult contract. That's going to be a 2-year, $1 million a year contract or like 4-year 1.5 to 2 million. Like, that's not going to be a difficult contract. Truthfully, though, they always need McLeod. Like, if we can build a team where our centers are McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge, McLeod, 1 to 4,
that'd be good.
That is the deepest center lineup in the league, 0 question. Just straight up. McLeod, we don't necessarily have a really big physical shutdown guy, but actually Draisaitl is a very big physical guy, but he would be producing a lot of offense. But yeah, if we have that forward group again, that center depth, huge. And then you have Derek Ryan, Devin Shore, like those guys are like the 13th, 14th forwards that can play the bottom 6 if need be, and McLeod could go up to 3rd, and Nuge can be top pair or 1 or 2. Like, we have the depth. Wingers, we still need an upgrade. I mean, especially with Kane going, I do honestly think Holloway comes in and replaces Kane just 1 for 1, just straight up. It will be a downgrade in the physical aspect, but I think like talent aspect, I think Holloway is an upgrade.
There was also rumblings about Oilers looking into DeBrincat.
Yeah, but again, like, first off, his contract is huge. We got to be able to, like, the whole reason that we've kept these picks, the whole reason we've done all of this is to be able to bring these guys up when we need them. And truthfully, we need them. And this is their time to come up. Like, Broberg and Holloway should be full-time NHLers next year. They're ready for it, too. Like, they've played in the minors. Holloway for a full year. Broberg for 2 now. They've played in the minors. They're really ready. Well. Yeah, and if they're ready, they should come up and play. Like, Cooper Marody, I think, wasn't he on the team in Game 4? Or who was it that was playing for us?
Brad Malone.
Malone, that's the one.
Yeah. Like, priority-wise, like, forwards we'll manage because we have McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman and Nuge, kind of. But defense, like, if they've been playing like they played in like the last part of the season, like, well, then we should be okay. And, like, Holloway can move up, so forwards are fine for now. Defense, they just have to play their game and then they'll be fine. We just need a goalie. Like, we can't, like, as much as Smith has been playing really well these past few months and, like, some hiccups during the playoffs, it's tough. Like, we need a goalie for sure.
We do, but I think our biggest priority should be the defense, though.
Defense and goalie.
We need 2, like, I would say 2 defensemen. No, 1. 1. But it's like a legitimate shutdown type of defenseman.
Yeah.
Whether it's 3rd or 2nd pairing. I would, like, even first pairing, man. Like, Nurse is a first pairing defenseman in his own right, 100%. No one can argue this. Come on, man. No, literally no. There's 4 left shot defensemen that are better than him in this entire league. Darnell Nurse is a top pairing defenseman. He was injured,
like, during the whole playoff, so...
yeah, we can't. Okay, he was playing with a torn hip.
Yeah.
Okay, like, come on. Like, I get it. Everybody's like, oh, he still play like garbage. I'm like, sure, he did not play well, but you play on 1 hip. He was still our best defenseman with a half a hip. Yeah, well, the 2 hips, the 2 sides.
Okay. I don't know I didn't take biology, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, I did.
Okay.
No, but, like, he only had, like, the half of a working hip, if that. You know what I mean? Like, he was in pain, man. Like, he's a top pairing defenseman. Like, I'm so tired of the argument of people. First off, $9 million, that's a lot of money. 100%. I acknowledge it. 1,000% it is. But name better defenseman than him right now, just straight up. Left shot defenseman, name better ones than him. Hedman, Yossi.
Yeah, and Yossi. Is it Makar left?
He's right.
Oh.
See how difficult it is to find one?
Yeah.
Slavin is up there. Slavin's like pretty damn good.
Defensive wise, yeah.
Slavin's up there.
Yeah.
But, like, you can't name another one.
He just has to, like, for all, like, the haters and stuff, he'll just have to get well for the season and just play like he usually does. They'll probably just shut up and not really worry about the $9 million that Nurse is making.
Yeah, Nurse is the number 1 defenseman. Like, people want to get him out of town. And, like, you know what? Listen, we trade Nurse, we might as well get rid of McDavid and Draisaitl too. Like, no, I'm serious.
Yeah, no, yeah. No, I agree.
Like, that's such an asinine comment by people who don't know the sport at all. The whole get rid of Nurse, or get rid of Smith, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he didn't play the greatest. Okay, fine. I'm okay with it. But, like, Get rid of Nurse? That's the stupidest thing I've heard, man. We finally have a top pairing defenseman on this team. Something we've been fighting for decades, since Pronger left. Like, Darnell Nurse will get us to that point. Now, does he need another top pairing? Is he good enough to carry a middle sixth, or like a second or third pairing defenseman with him in the top pairing? No. There's no.
You just need a supporting player.
There's one single defenseman good enough in this entire league to do that right now. I don't even think it's not Yossi Makar. They're very good defense. They're decent. They're good defensemen, but they're elite offensively. Hedman, for me, is the only defenseman in this entire league who is an all-around defenseman who can have like a second or third pairing defenseman with him and still be a very efficient top pairing.
Yep.
In my opinion, Hedman is the only one. So sign, but you know who I think they could sign that would make this defensive core like maybe not elite, but very good. Josh Manson, a big physical
was he a rental
right
for Colorado?
shot. He was a rental for Colorado. His dad is a coach here. Hopefully they do re-sign Woody and Dave.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping that he looks into like the Oilers look into trying to sign him. Bring over Kemper and like Manson, you know?
Just take him from Colorado. Let them win their Stanley Cup, but then take them away.
I really hope that whoever wins the East wins the Cup this year. I don't want to see McKinnon with how dirty he was. I don't want him seeing winning the Cup.
I just want my boy Ranty.
I don't even care. I would love to see Makar hoist a cup, but I do not want to see McKinnon win the Cup with how dirty he was. Just slew foot after slew foot. It was, and then they were diving all series too. Hey, did you see that Kadri dive in like game 1 or something? He barely got touched with the stick and he just flew forward. I'm like, bro, like we're not playing soccer right now, dude. Like just stop. It's embarrassing. But I cannot. That is a very good team, an exceptionally built team, top to bottom. They have one elite first line and 3 good second lines. Sorry, 2 really good second lines and a very good third line. They don't have a fourth line.
They have an elite first pairing and then 2 very good.
And that's with a massive injury to Samuel Girard, who is quite possibly their best defensive defenseman. And then they have 2 good to average goalies. Like let's not.
No,
Kemper is not going to single-handedly win you a game many times. Like he'll win it once in a few weeks.
It's just like when Chicago won. Like they had elite. Very good forwards, very, very good defensemen, and then
average goaltending.
Good goalies, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe Antiniemi was a starting goalie for a Stanley Cup winning team still. That's Colorado's going into.
That's why you have very good players playing against you, or in front of you, and you just have to stop the pucks.
Yeah, I just feel that Tampa Bay and New York are both, their defense / goalies are both better.
Their goalies are better, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, so Adam Fox, elite offensive defenseman as well. He's not better than Makar by no means, but I do think he's close enough to Makar to where it's not going to be that big of a difference, especially on the defensive side. Like the Makar to Nurse difference this playoffs was like monumental. A lot of it had to do with Nurse's injury, but a lot of it also had to do with how good Makar was.
Yes.
But like Adam Fox and Makar, the difference there is I wouldn't say it's close because I still think Makar is significantly better than any other defense in the league, but and then you have Hedman, and then you have a 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Hedman, 3-time defending Stanley Cup champion in Patty Maroon. Yes, I'd love to see him get a 4th, man, just because that guy parties.
I miss Patty Maroon.
Yeah, he's unreal, man. He's unreal. Okay, so I think let's finish off the hockey part with this. Like this offseason
is important.
It's very important. Goaltending will be upgraded.
Goaltending has to be upgraded. There's no question.
I mean, it's not like he hasn't tried the last 2 years.
No, that's true. He did try to go for Markstrom, but he just had to go to Calgary. So
he also tried to go for Kemper, but their asking price was way too. Because again, this is how I'm saying he didn't go all in because he didn't go for the Kemper trade. It would have been a first in Broberg. He didn't do it. If he was going all in, he would have done that last year. Was he not?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So our first round pick this year is definitely in play. Definitely in play. Although it's not going to be a very high pick, and this isn't a very strong draft, but it's still in play. And I do think that along with Cassian gets him traded. Our first plus Cassian for like a 4th line grinder forward, or 3rd or 4th line forward.
Did you hear about Oilers looking into getting Josh Anderson?
Yeah, I don't ever listen to Stauffer anymore because this things that come out of his mouth.
I'm just
are
reading
so
from Twitter
stupid.
because I don't listen to 6:30 Chet anymore.
Listen, Anderson is actually not bad. He's overpaid with way too much term, so that's gonna suck.
I think that's what everyone's talking about. Like they don't mind the player, they hate the money part, the 5.5.
If Montreal retains like even 1 million to make him a 4.5 forward, he's a second line forward.
I would say 3.5 would be fine.
Yeah, but he's a second line forward. Second liners make anywhere between 4 to 5 million a year. So like, and I doubt Montreal retains anything though. They don't have to. Anderson's still a serviceable forward. He's still going to be okay.
But then again, he'll just be using up most of our money, and then we won't be able to sign anyone else, kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Listen, I trust Holland to make these decisions, man. He hasn't made a bad trade yet.
For me, as long as he starts off with getting a goalie, or at least like getting a good goalie.
That's the thing, though. It's like he's trying. Like he's trying.
I'm just saying, like, as long as he gets a good goalie, I don't care what he does after that.
This is my issue, though. You know what I mean? Like Oilers fans are out there like get us a goalie, but like. Don't first off get us an elite goalie, but like don't overpay for him. But like I don't understand. You're gonna have to overpay for it. Like if he makes a trade like Hyman for a number one goalie, first off, Hyman alone doesn't get you a number one goalie. No. But even if we do go Hyman for a number one goalie, the whole city is gonna be just burning because they're like, oh, this is a stupid trade. I'm like, well, no, he technically got a steal. Like Hellebuyck for Hyman, that's a steal for us. Yeah, we lost Hyman, unreal player, and please like don't interpret this as me wanting to get rid of Hyman. I'm just making an analogy to make Oilers fans realize how stupid they are, right? Or like a Draisaitl for Vasilevsky.
If it was Vasilevsky,
no, the whole city would erupt into flames.
Oh no, I know the whole city will, but like if you're getting like a super elite,
but they're all gonna regardless. Like there's nothing that Holland can do that's going to make this city happy.
Not burn, yeah.
Nothing. And there's no goalie in the market right now that's available that's not going to cost an arm. Like, John Gibson is the only goalie in the market right now that is going to be worth anything. Because he's signed long-term still, another 4 years at like $6 million a year. This is the only, and he's an elite number one goalie. He's the only one that's available right now. I genuinely think that Holland goes all in on Gibson. Our first this year, first next year, along with probably...
Puljujärvi.
Honestly, I don't see them trading Puljujärvi because his value is super low right now.
Yeah,
I don't. But they also said this is his last year, so like we'll see. Somebody has to value him properly. Like Puljujärvi is good enough to trade for a second line forward. I think that's how good Puljujärvi should be valued as that because his numbers defensively were elite, and his offense was like really good until like the mid part of the season when he started getting injured, and he just lost all his confidence. Yeah. That's the issue with Puljujärvi too. He just loses confidence all the time. I can see Puljujärvi going to Columbus actually. Laine Puljujärvi playing on the same team.
That'd be pretty cool.
What was I going to say? I trust Holland, man. I do. Like he's gotten us to the Western Conference Final. McDavid and Draisaitl carried us there. I'm like, okay, well, we wouldn't have made it out of the first round if it wasn't for Keith. We would not have won Game 6 if it wasn't for that leadership of his back there. And that was a close game. If everybody forgets how close of a game that was.
That was pretty close, yeah. We'll just wait and see what happens. I
feel for Holland, man. There's literally not. He could literally get us Hellebuyck for a first round pick, and the city would be upset that we lost our first round pick.
I don't think just for a first round pick.
Come on. City knows nothing about hockey, dude. Like seriously, it's embarrassing. I saw a rumor the other day. They want like a Gibson or something, and they're like, okay, yeah, just offer him Barry. Sorry, what? Yeah, just Barry for Gibson. That's a fair deal. 1 for 1. They just lost Manson. Oh, maybe throwing Konovalov. I'm like, the guy we're buying out his contract? Oh, good idea, man. Throwing Cassian, too, just while we're at it. Just
there are really dumb armchair GMs in Edmonton, that's for sure.
It's because they play, like, GM on NHL 2022
yeah.
and, like, easy
mode, yeah.
But even then, like, they just don't accept. That's so stupid, man. I need to play NHL 22 again, man. That'd be fun. This is the year to get it. I'm going to get it 2023, I think is what I'm going to get this year. We'll see. Right. Anyways.
We should end it off with the... I guess we can count like the last 3 weeks for our performer of the 3 weeks.
All right, because I know who my two are going to be, but you're going to pick one of them and I'll pick the other one, so...
But they're Canadian. They have to be Canadian.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, besides Ben, because
Of course, Ben is the all-time forever.
Yes, Ben is the
performer of
all-time forever performer of the week, or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You go first, because I'm still thinking.
I mean, there's only really 2 options, isn't there?
Well, what's one of them?
Oh, I don't want to go with the homer pick, man. Okay, fine. I'll let you do the homer pick. I'll do McCarr. Just breaking NHL records left, right, and center. Just playing a stupidly good game. Proving to be one of the most elite defensive or defensemen of our generation. And if not, getting up to the... Like, if he continues in this trajectory, he will go down as one of the greatest defensemen of all time.
Definitely.
He's already being compared to Bobby Orr. I think that's accurate. I think it's fair. For me, it's Cale McCarr, man. He was unreal in the Oilers series. 9 points as a defenseman. Stupid. That's just 4 games.
Yeah, that's so insane.
His defensive game is significantly better than I thought it was too. Just watching him play, he defended against McDavid.
Yeah, he basically shut us down big time.
McCarr for me is my performer of the week.
And obviously, the other one that we were gonna pick anyway is McDavid.
Okay, good. I thought you were like Kemp. Like, what?
No. It was McDavid. Yeah, you just can't deny how amazing he is. Like, even if we are like losing, you see him coming on the ice, you know something is going to happen. You know that it's just going to be just pure magic, just watching him just skate around and basically control the game by himself.
Yeah. It's truly remarkable, like how good of a player he is. He's cemented himself as the greatest in the world, and there's no question.
Like there was like a video made by the NHL, like the top 15 plays of Connor McDavid this season, and you just feel for the guy. Like, he's just carrying the Oilers, and it's just all the 15 plays is just like could be a number 1 play in any like top 10 list
in the last decade and a half.
Yeah.
He's unreal. And for the longest time, it was just him and Draisaitl, and now there's a team around him. Thank God. And it will only get better, man. I genuinely believe that they will only get the depth better. We're not in a terrible salary cap situation. Like, we have contracts coming off the books soon.
Yeah, just not as bad as I think. Like, Toronto is pretty much in hell right now.
Yeah, Toronto's screwed.
Minnesota's going to be in hell right now.
They have $20 million in dead cap space. Yeah, Minnesota's done.
Vegas is in somewhat hell.
We'll see. Calgary, Edmonton will be 1 and 2, not in that order particularly, but they'll be 1 and 2 in the Pacific for a while, unless Gaudreau doesn't sign. And if that's the case, then Calgary might slip down a little bit, but we'll see, man. Yeah, McDavid cemented himself as the greatest player in the world. McCarr is the best defenseman in the world, cemented that as well. McCarr and McDavid are close enough to each other, are closer to each other than McCarr and like Draisaitl, who would probably, in my opinion, is the 3rd best player in the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, yeah, like, people are saying, oh, Matthews is definitely number 1 or at least number 2. No.
Well, Matthews is the best scorer in the league right now. He's got the best wrist shot, 100%.
But like, if you're gonna make a team around a player, if you're making a team around a forward, McDavid. If you're making a team around a defenseman, McCarr.
It's like
making a team around a goalie, I guess.
Vasilevsky for me, or Shesterkin.
Or Shesterkin too. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, you can't deny that these two are like the best players on the planet right now.
McCarr, if it's very early still, obviously. He's only like, 22, 23? Yeah. McCarr continues the way he's playing right now. Hopefully plays injury-free, a good, healthy, injury-free career. He will go down as a top 5 defenseman of all time.
Of all time, yeah.
I would even argue top 3.
Yeah.
And that is saying something because you have Lindstrom or in those conversations. You know what I mean? Like, he will go down as one of the greatest defensemen to ever play the game. McDavid will go down as I think, actually at this moment, he's already in the top 10 in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
He can fight and get into a top 5 spot. Because you have Howe, Gretzky, Lemieux, and Orr. Those are the undisputed top 4 players in the history of the league. The number 5 is very difficult to say, though. Very difficult to... Because there's so many educated arguments on it. So many. I think if you quiz NHL fans, I think they'll have a very similar top four, and those top four will be in everyone's top 10 for sure. Gretzky, Lemieux, and Orr should be undisputed top three, though, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. All right, well, I think that's everything for our episode this week. Next week, we'll have started the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll probably talk a little bit about that. I'm still bitter that the Oilers aren't in there, so maybe not as much.
It was close this year, but...
And the NBA Finals will probably be done by then too. We'll recap the champion of that one, and then look at the Blue Jays, because we're heading into the offseason, both the NBA and the NHL. So we'll see how that goes. But we should do like a live a draft recording during the NHL draft. How sick would that be?
That'd be pretty cool. If we have
play commentary.
If we can, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Anyways, thank you everybody for listening to episode 30 of the Can Ask podcast. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.